Alright, back again with another video, this time a recent gaming. Has been a little while since I did the last one. I have a bunch of games here that I've played. Actually, many more than I did last time, but yeah, let's get into it. I, first of all, played some racing games. I played through, where I was putting it off screen. I played through Absolute Drift Zen Edition. I didn't platinum it because it's incredibly difficult to platinum. So this is it's almost like a rage platformer, but a video game. Your cars are constantly drifting, and you have to drift. Surprise, surprise! But what I really like about this game, I really did like this game. I think this is a solid 8 out of 10. Many people dislike this game because it is difficult to get into. The controls are difficult to master. So if you just turn on the game and you drive around and you just cannot understand what is even happening, how you're supposed to drive your car, it's probably going to turn off a lot of people. So I guess most people who dislike this game have only played it for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, if even that. But yeah, what I really like about this game is the visual presentation. It's minimalist, it's clean, it's slick, it looks good, it sounds good. The music is this sort of, exactly what you would expect to hear someone in a drifting race car listening to on their stereo. It's electronic, it's like electronic dance music, but not, I don't know what the exact genre is, but it's kind of electronic dance music. It's not what you would hear on a radio. It's what you would probably hear at a rave or something like that. A little similar to the Wipeout series in that sense. Like you have this hard-hitting electronic music going on, and I think the soundtrack is great. The visuals are great. The controls are maybe a bit too extreme for my taste. I would like to have some control over the vehicle I'm using when I'm playing a racing game. But I did enjoy it. I did somewhat get into it. I did manage to beat most of the challenges. Not all of them, because of course you have your Mario Kart Rainbow Road style of track that is extremely narrow and doesn't have any walls or any railings to help you, and I cannot beat the challenges in that level. No way, I'm not good enough. But yeah, Absolute Drift, a gem of an indie game, also developed by I think one person, and that one person also developed this game, which is Art of Rally. Pretty much the reason why I played Absolute Drift is because I bought Art of Rally and I really wanted to play a rally game. So I thought that I would finish the first game by the developer and then go to the second one. So the same guy who did Absolute Drift also did a rally game, Art of Rally. There's this nice looking cover art for it. Does it have something extra? Oh yeah, it did have in the collection of the video where I showed this, I think I didn't unbox it, so there is some kind of something. What is this even? Oh, it's a patch. There are some patches, and then there is something else. What is this? Is that a download code? Did I just show some download code? I don't even know what this is. Interesting. I'll have to look into it after I stop recording. Yeah, there's also this poster that has a bunch of the cars in it that you can drive in again. There's no way I'm going to be able to fit this all on the screen at once, but I'll fold it like this. So there you go. Just a bunch of cars. Looks great. So yeah, Art of Rally is a much more approachable game. Much easier to control the cars. Well, it's a rally game, so there is also drifting involved, but it's not as extreme. And for what it is, I think Art of Rally is pretty good. I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. So if Absolute Drift is an 8 out of 10, I would give this a 7 out of 10. It also has a nice visual style, very colorful. But there are very few tracks, only a couple of tracks in a whole game, and then you have the reverse order versions where you start from the end and go to the beginning. So I guess that doubles the amount of tracks, but few tracks only. There is a free roam kind of collectathon mode where you can just freely drive around these open world settings and look for collectibles. That was quite nice. And yeah, it's good. One thing that I think that sets Absolute Drift over this is also the music. I don't think the music really fits the game that well. It's much more all over the place than in Absolute Drift, where everything is focused and fits it perfectly. So yeah, Art of Rally, a pretty good follow-up. Not necessarily as strong or as interesting, but if you're into Rally, why not play Art of Rally? It's pretty good. Then I played through the entirety of the Metal Slug anthology, so all of the games here. And this was the first time that I ever played any of them. So this does have the first game, the second game, then X, which is a remake of the second game, or not necessarily a full remake, but an enhanced edition with changes and additions. Then you have Metal Slug 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, this release is notorious, or all of the Metal Slug anthology releases are notorious for having technical problems, and I guess that does come into play when I score these games. I'm not necessarily as high on the series as many people, but that's partly because this is the first time I've played them, and these versions of especially the first two games are not that good, unfortunately. So these are originally arcade games, and these are not by any means arcade perfect representations of the games. So the first game is very difficult. Most of these games are extremely difficult. That's one of the things that kind of turns me off of games, when I'm not really that into extremely difficult arcade games. Like, that's just a personal preference. I like games that are more chill and laid back than this. Also, it's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, or side-scrolling run and gun style of series, and that's not really my thing either. But I did have some fun, especially with the first one and X. I think X is probably the best in the series. Or by far my favorite in the series, at least. Now, the first game does have a lot of technical problems here in this version of it. I did read online that on a PS5 it doesn't lag as much, but there is a lot of input lag, there's a lot of slowdown. There are some sections in the game that feel unfair because of it. You just cannot properly do them unless you know exactly what you're doing. So that is a problem. The second game also has technical problems. It doesn't necessarily have as much slowdown as the first one, but it does have frame rate drops, quite severe ones, and it just sucks out a lot of the fun. Now, Metal Slug X is the first one, and then all of the ones after that I think are perfectly fine. Not perfect, but perfectly fine. Like, you can play them, and it's not that much of a problem that there is, even if there is some slowdown. So Metal Slug X is the second game, but a better version of it. So you have more weapons, you have some extended gameplay sequences, you have some extra story going on. I thought Metal Slug X completely nailed the balance between difficulty and fun, whereas the base version of the second game was maybe a bit too difficult at times for my liking. But yeah, Metal Slug X was great. Metal Slug 3, for the first half of the game, I thought this was the best in the series. But then the second half of the game was a bit of a drag. It was too long. All of these are arcade games, so they are quite short. You can beat most of them in around 30 minutes or so. And there are obviously like endless credits in these home console versions, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, the second half of Metal Slug 3 I thought was a complete slog. If you know what you're doing, you can probably get through it more like better, more fluidly, and not get wrecked by some of the enemy types. I thought some of the enemy types were really annoying, especially the ones shooting the lasers, like the robots near the end. But yeah, the first half of Metal Slug 3 is really fun, really great. I did enjoy it. Maybe if I went back to it and actually tried to learn how to play it, I would enjoy it more, because this one seems to be the favorite of most people, or many people at least, who are into the series. Now 4, 5, and 6 kind of melt together. I can't really even remember which was which at this point anymore. But yeah, there is also some overlap here, because there is some repeat boss fights from earlier games. There is also some sections in the maps that I thought were suspiciously similar to sections in the earlier games, especially, I guess it was in 4 or 5. There's this section on a hillside with these like bunkers, like these pillbox bunkers. Some of those sections were like pretty much the same as in, I guess, in Metal Slug X or 3, I can't remember. So yeah, there was some rehashing of old ideas there. In terms of gameplay, it's basically not exactly the same, but quite close. One of the games, I guess it was 5, introduced, or maybe 6, introduced this sort of a dodge move slide thing that wasn't there before. But I found that quite difficult to use and just ended up kind of abandoning the idea of using it. Except for the sections where you had to use it, because there are some sections where you have to use it. Yeah, Metal Slug Anthology. What would I score these games? I guess the first one and X, I would probably give an 8 out of 10 for. And then the original second is by far my least favorite, maybe a 6 out of 10. So the quality of the games is quite similar. They're quite close to one another. The best thing about the series is the visual style, obviously, but yeah. Third one, I probably give it a 7 out of 10. And then 4, 5, and 6 are around this 6, 7 mark, I guess. Yeah, the visual style is really good. I forgot to talk about that. These iconic character designs and the incredibly detailed animations, especially for that time. There is so much personality in the animations. It's great. It looks good. The music is also good. But yeah, Metal Slug series. Now I've played through all of the games once. And I think I went to X 2 times. So I'll probably go back to these at some point and maybe try to get a little bit better at them, because they are difficult games and I suck at them. I really, really suck at these types of games. But yeah, there we go. Not the best version of the games either. I don't know if there is a better version out there, really. I also have the same collection for the Nintendo Wii, but I guess that doesn't really fix anything. There are also individual releases for some of the games by limited run games. There are PS2 versions. I have some of them as well. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know if there's a better way to play Metal Slug 1 on a home console, because that is definitely the one I would like to replay again, because it was really, like, the version was really, really bad in that anthology collection. Also, the scores that I gave, they are specifically for these anthology versions. I'm not saying that the original Metal Slug is only an 8 out of 10. I'm saying that this version of it is an 8 out of 10. Even with all of the problems, it's still a really good game. Right. Next up, going back to Castlevania Advanced Collection again for the third time, because I played Aria of Sorrow. And Aria of Sorrow is really good. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. It's a combination of Circle of the Moon and Harmony of Dissonance in many ways. So you have a somewhat similar, well, not similar. You have some of the difficulty of Circle of the Moon, but it's not as difficult. It's not as over the top, obnoxiously difficult, and it's also not as easy as Harmony of Dissonance. So it's somewhere there in the middle. In terms of presentation, I think the game looks much better than Harmony of Dissonance, and more like Circle of the Moon. I think it's probably the best looking out of these advanced Castlevania games. It has an interesting storyline. It's set in Japan, which is quite weird. I wasn't expecting a Castlevania game to be set in Japan. The main character is the guy here on the cover, called Cruz. And yeah, the storyline involving him and his character arc is quite interesting as well. There's also some callbacks to the earlier games, especially Circle of the Moon, which I enjoyed. So it's worth it to play through all of the 3 games in order to know some of the side characters and their implications of them. In terms of gameplay, it's 2D Castlevania. It's really good. The movement I thought was better than in Harmony of Dissonance. Harmony of Dissonance has this weird floaty feel to the controls that I didn't enjoy. Aria of Sorrow is much tighter, so I enjoyed that as well. The level design, moving through the map, everything, it's really good. So I would say that after Symphony of the Night, this is by far my favorite Castlevania game of the ones that I've played so far, which are these 3 here in this collection and Symphony of the Night. So the second best out of those 4 that I've played. This collection also has Dracula X in it. I did start it. I played a bit of the first level, but I just stopped. I didn't really care much about Dracula X, which is a Rondo of Blood kind of a reimagining, I guess. Just it's a worse version of the Rondo of Blood. I also played Rondo of Blood, so I've played 5 games in the series. So yeah, Aria of Sorrow, solid 9 out of 10, really good 2D action platformer Castlevania game. Next up, something completely different. We have Cocoon, which is a puzzle. Not really. Well, there is some platforming as well, but it's a puzzle game. It's an isometric view puzzle game that features these sort of bugs in this bug world. But yeah, it has some of the same developers as Limbo and Inside. So this is a Danish game. I think Jeppe Carlsen, the lead gameplay designer, he directed this one, I guess. So. A bit of a different style of game from them. Their previous games have been side view, side scrollers. This one is from an isometric 3D view. And it's an interesting game. It's a balls-based puzzle game. So lots of balls here. You have this bug, and he can, or he or she, whatever, can, or it can only carry 1 ball at a time. You have multiple different balls, different colors, and they transport you into different worlds when you place them into these slots. And you have to figure out a way how to get all of your balls from one place to another. So you have to carry these balls one at a time into these different positions, warp around in different worlds. It sounds complicated, but if you play it, it makes sense. It doesn't get easy because some of the challenges are a bit difficult. I did get stuck once where I had to look up in a guide how to do it. The puzzles are quite clever because it deals a lot with this idea of having these multiple different worlds that you warp into. You have to take an item into one world and then through that world into another world, and it is quite interesting. There are also some boss fights here that are at first sight quite typical. So you have your basic boss fight who jumps, basic boss fight against a dude who jumps and creates a shockwave, and you have to dodge the shockwaves, and what you usually do in a video game. But all of the bosses have some sort of a twist that happens in the middle of it. So all of the bosses have multiple phases, and the different phases add layers into the boss fights that are at times quite interesting, and also things that I wouldn't have expected to happen. So I thought the boss fights were quite interesting and well designed, as well as the puzzles. The visual style, if you play any games by these guys, you know that the visuals and the music are going to be fantastic. It's also the same here. It has this minimalistic electronic ambient soundtrack that's quite nice to listen to, and this extremely stylized and colorful art style that differs between the different worlds that you transport yourself into. So yeah, I think Cocoon is definitely worth playing for anyone who's into puzzle games and these sort of indie games. It's also surprisingly long. It's around, I guess, around almost 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours. So there's a lot to explore there. So yeah, Cocoon, 8 out of 10, good game. Then, now that I live in a new apartment with better soundproofing than the student apartment I used to live in, I've started to play PS1 games again. So I all of these games I've played with headphones on, because I don't want to bother my neighbors. But I have started playing some PS1 and also PS2 games that I don't need headphones for. So I went back and I played a couple of PS1 games here. The first one, if you had 100 PS4 games in your backlog and you played one of them for the first time in years, would you pick Asterix? Probably not, but I did. This is a childhood game of mine. I used to love this as a kid. It's basically Risk, but it's a licensed game. Like, this is for the Americans, if you don't know Asterix, this is a French comic book and media franchise, lots of video games, lots of movies and stuff like that in this series. I used to read the comic books as a kid, and I also had a copy of this game. But I got a new one because this is complete in box, and I think the old one, I don't even know where it is. It probably went missing at some point. So yeah, it's basically Risk. So it's this sort of map-based strategy game. You have units and you put them into these slots on the map, and then you attack areas controlled by the Romans. You're fighting to capture all of France for yourself, get rid of the Roman conquerors. So yeah, you play Risk against the AI. The AI is quite bad. And then you have some mini games. Most of the mini games are awful. You have, Toss the Roman is kind of entertaining. It's the only one that requires skill. It's a timing-based, skill-based, it's like throwing, what is it? It's not shot put, but the other one where the ball has a chain on it, and you swing around and you throw the ball. Yeah, it's like that, but with a Roman. So, and then you have some quite bad 3D platforming action sequences also in certain areas, like these special areas that you conquer. And it's not great, but I still love it. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Asterix on the PS1. I also played another racing game on the PS1. I played Ridge Racer Type 4. And again, this is a game that I never played. This also comes with a demo for some other, what is that? Ridge Racer High Spec. I don't know what that is, but there's a demo for it. Yeah, I've never played a Ridge Racer game before, so this was the first one. And it's really good. I think it holds up great. It's still good. The gameplay is a bit wonky, and it's extremely arcadey. So the cars they don't really act like real cars. So it's an arcade racer series, so they shouldn't. But still, it's kind of jarring how easy it is to maneuver the car and make turns at ridiculous speeds. But yeah, Ridge Racer Type 4. The opening cinematic looks really good. That was the first thing that caught my attention. And in terms of gameplay or game modes, there isn't that much to it. There is a story mode, sort of this Grand Prix that you take part in. There are 4 different teams that you can choose from. They all have their own storylines. I did play through I started with the normal playthrough, and then I did the easy one after that, when I already knew the levels. And I also started the hard one, but the team was not that interesting, so I stopped midway through. So I did 2 of the 4, like story mode campaigns, and it's the same races over and over again, basically. It is kind of grindy in that sense. The campaign mode, you have to also finish quite high in the races to even get points, or even be allowed to move forward in the tournament. And yeah, it's quite challenging, but not too bad, even for someone who isn't that good at racing games like me. I thought it was completely doable on the normal difficulty, and even on the hard difficulty once I knew the tracks. So yeah, the visual style of Ridge Racer is phenomenal. I prefer Wipeout. It's not as slick as Wipeout, but I really like the menus and the UI. Everything from the menus to the UI has this has this really high quality graphic design look to it. It screams 90s. It has a very 90s look. Lots of yellow and black, and the use of lines in the menus is great. It looks fantastic. It's the best part about the Ridge Racer series, in my opinion. The visual design. But yeah, Ridge Racer Type 4, I think it still holds up. Back in the day, I can see why this is some people's favorite racing game of all time, but now playing it for the first time in 2025 and playing the whole series for the first time in 2025, it's difficult to get into that mindset of how groundbreaking this would have been back in the day. So for me, in this point in time, it's still a 9 out of 10 game. It's a good one. Right, and then finally, the last one, I played through the Tartarus Key, which is a puzzle game. It's a first-person puzzle game, basically. Has some horror elements in it as well, but it's mostly a puzzle game. And yeah, it's all right. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I was expecting more of a horror experience, but yeah, it's an escape room puzzle game. The puzzles are, for the most part, quite simple, but then there are a couple that I still don't understand how they're done. I had to look up a guide to get through one of the later puzzles. It's the one with the wires in the computer room. And even after looking at the solution for it and doing the solution, I still don't understand how the puzzle works. So some of the puzzle design could maybe use a little bit of work. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not great at escape rooms, but I have finished a lot of puzzle games without using guides. So I'm guessing it's bad design if I can't figure out. I don't have any idea how to beat some puzzle in a game like this. Like, I have no clue how to do it. I guess that's a sign of bad design. Or maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. Could be either one. But yeah, Tartarus Key. This physical is from Super Rare Games. And it does have a booklet in it. And what is there? Nothing else. That's just a blank paper with some warning texts on the other side, or legal texts on the other side. Yeah. Tartarus Key. I guess this physical is sold out. If it gets expensive, I don't think it's worth really. I don't think it's really that impressive to warrant a high price. But well, if you want a physical copy of it, I guess you can get one if you want to. But I'm glad that I bought it when it wasn't sold out, so I only paid like 20 euros for it. So yeah, maybe one more thing that I should say about Tartarus Key is that it has PS1 era style graphics. So it's one of these modern throwbacks to PS1 era. It has quite blocky characters, like low fidelity, like low fidelity style to the graphics, and not that much detail to it. But it looks good. I think the PS1 3D era graphics, when done well, look exceptionally good still. So there you go. That's that. That's Tartarovsky, and we hit 30 minutes. I guess it's time I stop talking about this stuff. I guess from now on, for these recent gaming episodes, I'll just put the thumbnails like this so all of the games show, because I'm doing kind of like reviews of them. Well, not really proper in-depth reviews, but these sort of small my thoughts on the games reviews, and I can only fit like 2, maybe 3 titles in the in the title of the video. So I guess it's all right to show all of them here. So if there's some game that you specifically would like to hear me talk about, you can pick them out of the video and just go there in the video, instead of having to gamble on something that you may not be interested in at all. So there you go. That's the stuff that I've been playing recently. I'll be back again next week with something completely different. Bye bye.